Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Shakey's Cricketing Journeys. We're getting quite late into the season now. I hope I've kept you entertained on Saturday evenings now that we don't have any cricket going. And the guest today is another bright, very big Scottish talent, wicketkeeper batsman. I have today with me, pleasure to have Matthew Cross.
Hi, Shake, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good, thank you. I'll start by talking about first things first. The most important thing is that you're like a Twitter legend at the moment, mate. These golf skills at home, I've been amazed by them.
Yeah, I mean, I've now got the burden of having to keep it going. I've kind of put it on the back burner now. It's taken its toll on me a little bit, but it was just a way of getting through the days to start with, and then people seem to really enjoy it, so I kept it going for a bit, but I've sort of gone off it now, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I can imagine it looks great when you do it on camera, but it takes quite a lot of setting up.
Oh, honestly, the range of emotions I've gone through during these days is just ridiculous. I mean, some of these things taking hours, and a couple of times I've been up at 1 and 2 a.m. still trying to do it, and I'm like, what am I doing? But it's been good fun, and people have enjoyed it. So what can I do?
No, absolutely. I mean, like you say, it looks great on the take that we get to see when it all works. But I can imagine there's some moments of pulling your hair out during it. You've kind of gone head to head against a South African legend in Sean Pollock. I think you've tipped that one, to be honest, mate. I mean, he's done pretty well, but yours have been different. I particularly enjoyed the one when you do it on the stairs and then you run to the top of the stairs and celebrate with a sip of beer. Which I think was a sip of beer. That was pretty impressive. So no, good for you, mate. But all good things, I suppose, start to take their toll, and I've noticed. But we need to have something later on in the season again from you.
Yeah, I'll start thinking of something new.
Good man. So yeah, Crossy, I want to go back to the early days. You were born October 15th, a fellow October man, 1992 in sunny Aberdeen. 1992 is a great year for me. It's the year Pakistan won the World Cup, so it's a massive inspiration. So you were born in a great year. I just want to talk to you, guys, about your early cricketing days, how you got into cricket, your background. So please.
Yeah, so I went to school at Robert Gordon's College in Aberdeen. Big rugby kind of hockey school, so it was all rugby hockey really. I'm talking a little bit of cricket in the summer term, but it just wasn't important there. But in my primary 6, so I'd been probably 9 or 10, I think, I had a teacher called Mr. Wilkinson, and some afternoons he was an absolute legend. He just got bored, so he took us all down to the gym hall and we started playing cricket, and everybody hated it. Pretty much everyone except me. I felt like I was decent at it. I could throw, I could hit, so I was like, I can do this. And he kind of suggested that I went to Aberdeenshire and started, through the summer, obviously, once school finished. And then, from there, Aberdeenshire, I really enjoyed it. I was playing sort of under 12s, under 13s when I was 9 or 10. And then a year or so later, I was trialling for the Scotland under 12s. So quite quickly, it became something, I went into the North under 13s or whatever it was at the time. And a couple of years later, I was playing Scotland under 12s. So quite quickly from starting at school, I was, representing Scotland, and it was, off and running.
And were you a glove man early days?
Someone asked me about this the other day. So I went down to my first Scotland under 12 trial, would have been, I think, 10 or 11, maybe 11. And they said to everyone, like, who's the wicket keepers? And I'd never done it before. I just batted and I bowled a little bit of medium pace. Mm-hmm. No one really put their hand up, so I was like, I'll do it. Put my hand up, and I was like, I was thinking, like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't do this. And then suddenly I was a wicketkeeper, that I didn't actually get picked that year for under 12, so I was like a year young, if that makes sense. But I came back the next year and I got picked, and I was the wicketkeeper batter for the under 12s. So it was kind of a bit of an impulse thing to do it, but glad I did, because I was never really going to have any sort of bowling talent, I don't think.
Well, I mean, if you were going to bowl, I would have imagined you probably would have had to find some spin talent, because you're probably similar to myself. Probably I think you're probably a bit shorter than me as well, Crossy. So I don't think you would have been a tear away quick. So keeping was probably a good route for you. So it was quite early anyway. I mean, it happened pretty much at the start of your career that you decided that you were going to be a glove man. along with your batting. Because some people, you know, it was interesting. I was talking to Gavin Hamilton on his podcast, and he didn't know he was going to be a medium-pace bowler until he was like 17 or 18. So some people take some time, just do different things through their. But you kind of started working on that area of your game pretty early, as soon as you started out.
Yeah, I think I just enjoyed it as well. Like, the one thing about keeping is you were always in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine being a young kid and you were just standing in the field, you start drifting, looking at the clouds. You couldn't really do that when you were keeping. So I guess I enjoyed that side of it. Obviously, it's a weird game, cricket. You can miss out with the bat, but you don't really miss out when you're a keeper. So
yeah,
it was always something.
There's some Saturdays as well in Scotland. You would love to have a pair of inners and a pair of gloves on. not that then after you see the keeper's gloves after a couple of years of doing it, you don't envy them too much. But I mean, it's certainly warmer under the gloves catching a ball than it is with the cold hands in a cold Glasgow day. I tell you that much.
Yeah.
So you know, you started playing Scotland in the 12s. I'm sure you obviously then played through all the ranks at junior level. My first experience of playing with you, how old would you have been? We played a game against MCC. I think it was a three-year down at Ayr, and you'd come in to keep for the side. You would have been young.
I think I was 15, turning 16 in the winter, because I just played a 2-day game for the under-17s at that time. I remember, like, I got the call. I can't even remember who was in charge, to be honest. It might have been Tenners.
Yeah, Tenners, I think. Coach, yeah.
He told me that I was going to play, and I was playing this under-17 game, and I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, this is a bit scary. Yeah, so obviously it was quite, you know, I felt the pressure come into there as well, because actually, you know, yourself, Flanners, Icky, I think Richie played, like, it was quite a strong team, and I was coming in having to keep as well. It's not like I could hide in the field. And I was like, I'm going to have a bit of spotlight here. And I remember in the slips, it was you and Flanners next to me, so I was a bit like, oof.
Yeah, I remember it well. You were only a little toddler, man. You were only a young. But to be honest, I can fondly remember you handled yourself very well. You know, there was obviously a lot of chat going around in the slip cordon, but you seemed to have I could see that you had something about you. You weren't completely. You weren't a mute. You know, you got involved in the chat a little bit, and it was good to see. And I seem to remember you kept pretty well. I don't remember you doing much with the bat. I would imagine.
I think I batted.
Yeah, I don't even think
you and Flanners got hundreds, and then we bowled twice from memory.
Yeah, that's right. I think Flanners. I think he might have ran me out or something. I think I got ran out by Flanners in that game as well.
I'll never forget that morning. I remember turning up, and Ross Lyons was playing as well.
Ross Lyons would have been playing, yeah.
And I'd never seen him play, but I knew he was a left-arm spinner.
Yeah.
The first ball he bowled, like, in the warm-up, he bowled a leggy, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And I remember this is the first thing I'd done as soon as I turned up, was try and catch the ball. Expecting left arm off spin, he bowled a leggy, went straight past me and, like, went miles down the hill at it.
Yeah.
I was just sat like, this is going to be, you know, that's it. Like, I'm done already.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, at that point I was a bit like, oh God, it's going to be a tough 3 days. But you guys were brilliant with me, and, you know, it was exactly what I needed to get in there, you know, just a bit of keeping, and it was a good 3 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was enjoyable. It's unfortunate. It was the only game of cricket I've ever played with you. You know, obviously there was a big age gap between us. So when I was kind of in the national team, by the time my kind of days started coming to an end, you were coming into the fold. So it was unfortunate that I never got to play more cricket with you. But it's still nice to have played with you as a young pup all those years ago. What I want to go in to talk to you about now, Crossy, before we go on to talk to some of your highlights in your career, I really wanted to talk to you. I think your story is really interesting. You obviously are one of these boys that went to the famous Loughborough University. Mm-hmm. You went there to study engineering.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming improve your cricketing skills to give you the opportunity to become a professional cricketer. So what age were you when you went to Loughborough?
So I came out of school at 17, as we do in the Scottish system. So I was 17 when I went down to Loughborough for my trials. And, like, to be honest, I had no expectations of getting in or anything. This is a pretty prestigious program, especially Loughborough. It was the big one in terms of cricket. I turned up for my trial, and there was 70, 80, maybe even 100 people there, like, wanting to get on this program. So
how many?
I had no expectation.
And slots roughly available?
Well, I think it was only 22 in the first year, and I was a bit like, I've got no hope here, because they had Sam Billings, who is the big rising star from Kent, obviously, and David Murphy, who was already playing county cricket for Northants. So I had zero expectation of even being in the squad, and enjoyed the trials, and got picked in my first year, which was pretty big for me, I guess. Got me straight into that kind of program of training 5 days a week. So in hindsight, that was quite a big moment, was getting on that program first year, because I didn't expect to get into my second or third year once maybe those two guys had left. So it was quite a big moment, and I can't thank Graham Dilley enough for the almost giving me a chance at the start.
That's right. The late Graham Dilley was coach down there at that time. Obviously, somebody that coached Scotland in the '99 World Cup as well. England fast bowler. How was he to work with? I've never got to work with him one-on-one, but I've heard lots of great stuff about him.
I mean, he's he's definitely the scariest person I've ever been coached by. I swear to God, I remember our first fitness session. He takes everything pretty seriously in terms of your commitment and stuff. And he was sat there behind a computer. We all had heart rate monitors on to make sure everyone was working, and we were just running laps for about an hour. And it was, I've never been so scared of messing up something as simple as running around in a circle. But I remember there was one kid who dropped out within about the first 5 minutes. This was literally training session 1, and he just absolutely let him have it. And it was a fear factor, to be honest, that probably, even in my first one-to-one with him, he absolutely tore me to shreds, because he had this bowling machine on, pretty decent, swinging away. And at that time, all I was doing was playing shots, because that's what I did.
Yeah.
And he tore me apart and told me he was wasting his time and all this sort of stuff. I was nearly in tears. And he was like, I'm giving you one more chance. And I got through that. But after that moment, it was all like, head down, work hard when he's around, and, do everything that's asked of you. And to be fair, he got the most out of a lot of guys, especially at that age as well, when everything else at uni's going on. He really worked us that hard that he gave us a chance as well.
Yeah. So how does it all work then, Crossy? 5 days a week, you said you were training.
Yeah.
How did it all work? This is the part I want to kind of really get, like the study and the cricket. How is it all kind of divided and done in the manner that you were able to give everything the correct attention?
So we had 3 gym sessions a week, which were all like 6 to 7 a.m. type times. Be lectures throughout the day, and then it'd be training in the evening, except Wednesday afternoons there were sports. So it was pretty much, there was a training, if not 2 training sessions a day, and it was just more about being organised than anything. So there's never, they said to us at the start, there's no reason you can't have a social, a sport, and a educational aspect. You can't, you're at uni at the end of the day, and it more or less was about being organised, like, making sure you picked your times when you could go out and when you need to stay in, because you've got a long day and things. Obviously, some guys didn't go down that route. They skipped uni lectures and stuff and waited for them to come out online. But
were you one of them, Crossy?
I wasn't initially, but by the second and third year, I definitely was.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, I just prioritised my cricket massively after my first year. I probably put everything into first year, which was a bit stupid because it doesn't count for anything. But at that point, I knew, like, I really want to do this, and I'm already in the MCCU stuff, so I'm going to make sure I commit to all my training really hard and catch up with uni as, do go to uni when I can, but when I need to catch up, make sure I find time to do it. And it's just an organisational thing. We still had Saturday and Sundays, no training. You have 2 whole days there where there's nothing on. So there's always time to organise yourself, and there's no reason you can't do both.
Yeah. That's interesting. You touched on so I didn't actually know this or remember this. You were a YC as well, MCC and cricketer.
Yeah, I did YCs when I was 2017. I was in the YCs for 1 year. Yeah. Okay,
so you were doing YCs, Loughborough Uni, and your study, or how did that?
No, YCs came after uni. That I was 24.
All right. Okay.
In the last year I could be on it, and I got asked to go, so I went.
Yeah. Obviously, it's something I did when I was 17 and 18 as well. Be interesting to talk to you about that after this. Kind of want to and talk to you, because you went as a 24-year-old. Probably something I look back at is I wish I'd been able to go when I was a bit maturer, because you're down in London in the big city, and it's I think it was maybe just a bit young at the time to really appreciate what it was and get the most out of it. But back to your uni stuff, then that's a proper disciplined, lifestyle there that you have to have. managing your lectures. Was your cricket then kind of late afternoon into the evening? Was that when most of those sessions were?
So it went something like Monday morning gym, Monday evening fitness, Tuesday was, I think, Fat Club, which I was part of for the first year.
Okay.
Wednesday was gym in the morning, and then afternoon of sort of mostly cricket, maybe some type of strength and conditioning type stuff. Then Thursday was just sprints and fitness in the evening. Friday gym, and then recovery swim. So that was the winter kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winter, that's what we were doing. And then obviously as we went into January, there was an extra cricket session put in there. And then you had like one-to-ones fitted around your lectures as well. So after
did you get, I mean, just to me, listening to you say that, it sounds like a lot. It sounds pretty damn intense. Were you still managing to get you? I mean, because I would imagine down there they would have been putting a lot of emphasis on your studies as well. I mean, that's the whole thing about it. You're coming down there, you get to have that experience of pretty much being a full-time cricketer almost. But your education is really important as well. It's the main aspect you're going to uni for. Yeah. Do you find that you were still able to concentrate and I mean, you must have been tired as well. It must have been taking its toll on you late evenings when you want to study or something, and you've got to be up early for a Monday morning gym session.
Yeah, I think like I said, so I was probably working to about 18, 19 lecture hours a week on my course.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys who were on the cricket were doing sports science, geography type things, and they seem to only have like 8 or 9 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was just fuming about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's just finding time, and like I didn't spend a lot of time worrying about my uni work too much. I kind of just got it done when the deadline was coming. I didn't, they say you've got to do all this reading and all that sort of stuff. I didn't do things like that. But obviously when time came to do deadlines and exams, knuckled down.
Yeah, put the head down for a couple of days.
A couple of months break. We had a month over Christmas and New Year to get ready for exams. So, crammed it in hard then. And it's just managing your time and yourself. Everything's deadline, so it's not that hard to get yourself organised when you've got deadlines. I think you can look at everything. You get your deadlines pretty much day one when you turn up. So
you know when you had to put in the extra yards.
Yeah, I think so.
And other than that, you just attended your lectures and made sure more often than not. First year sounds like you were the keen student in the first year, and then once you kind of found your feet and knew what you had to do or not to do, then that's maybe when a few late nights took place and a couple of lectures got missed.
Yeah, I mean, like in my first year, I was only 17. Like, I'd barely even gone out at that point. Like, I was kind of lucky when I was playing with Aberdeenshire. They took me out a couple of times, snuck me in places, but I'd not really been into the whole going out or anything. And it was a bit, that first couple of weeks of freshers and that was an eye opener. And then it was just more a case of organising myself and, once you get into quite a good routine, which is the nice thing with it. You get used to, after the first 2 weeks were like hell, the body was shot to pieces. But after that, you get used to the routine. You figure out when you can sneak in some extra hours of sleep or a couple of hours of work. And it's, actually how people always say, like, having that routine, once you get it, it's not that hard.
No, it sounds quality. I mean, I've heard loads of good things about it. You're obviously somebody I know personally who's been down there and done it, and it's really interesting to hear. But it sounds intense at the same time. I mean, it doesn't sound easy. It sounds like you're pretty much playing as a professional cricketer.
Yeah, that's what they try to push you to become, isn't it? They're trying to basically make you do what a full-time professional cricketer would do, as well as studying. So they really are pushing you hard. But then I guess at the end of the day, you walk away with maybe a bit of first-class experience. You've played some high-standard cricket. You've seen other guys who are going to become pros, or you see the England guys in there, and you've got a degree. So, as a system, it's brilliant.
If I could rewind time myself personally, I went and put all the eggs into going down the professional cricket route and went to the YCs, which didn't have the education. Left school and went. I mean, my son, for instance, if he chose he wanted to do sport, I would certainly be advising him to go down the route like what you've done. I think education is, but I think there's a lot more emphasis on it now. Crossy, I think cricketers coming through are encouraged by different counties and stuff. There's more help than there was maybe 10, 15 years ago to help guys also get their education. Because if you miss that window, you need to start earning money. You need to start paying your bills and stuff like that. So that's the time to do it. 17, 18, 19, 20, education and strive to. So it sounds like, it was a perfect grounding for you to get your degree. So you successfully completed your degree. So you've got a degree in engineering.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be something you go back to? And
I don't know, to be honest. It's not at the moment my plan, but I'm purely just focused on cricket.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can play as long as I can, but it's at least there, and if it needs to be used, I'm sure I'll have to dip into it at some point.
You're only 20. I mean, of course, you're 27 years old right now. You've got, I'm hoping, a long career ahead of you. If you keep that fitness up. I mean, before we came on, I got a text message from you around 5:30 where you'd informed me that you were just coming back from a run. So if the Scotland national coach is listening, Crossy's putting in the yards. He's not skipping any corners. He's not just doing golf tricks at home. He's also putting the fitness in. Good on you. And you touched on, obviously you had good first class experience, because Loughborough obviously playing a lot of the 4-day. They play a lot of 4-day cricket, don't they?
Yeah. So I made my first class debut in my final year against Sussex. So you get to play. They play 3 games against the counties, and that year they made 2. The last game not first class, which was against Northampton. So played against Costa actually. So my first class debut was against Sussex, and we played against an attack of McGoffin, Jordan, and I can't remember who the other one was, but there were 3 proper bowlers, and my first class debut innings was against Chris Jordan with 3 overs to go, running down the hill at Sussex in the season. He took about 100 wickets.
Yeah.
Cleaned me up. But yeah, I walked away from Loughborough with a degree. I was at the time I walked away playing for Scotland. I was with Notts, and I played 2 or 3 first class games as well. So I couldn't have walked away from Loughborough with any more, really.
Yeah, but fantastic. Well, I mean, what a grounding to go on and become a professional cricketer from that. It's I think it's like you got a degree in cricket as well. Pretty much, you knew what it took to then go on. If you wanted to be a professional cricketer and be successful being a professional cricketer, you'd had a degree in that as well. So not only are you thankful for a degree in engineering, you've also got a cricket degree coming out of that. So for anybody listening, if you wants to be a professional cricketer but wants to get your education as well, Loughborough sounds like a great route, but don't think it's for the weak. It doesn't sound like it's for the faint-hearted. Sounds like you need to be pretty tough and pretty skillful to be able to handle the experience. So no, good on you, Crossy. That's fantastic. I want to now go on and talk to you a little bit about some of the highlights of your career. First of all, I want to just mention the teams you've played for. So you've played, obviously, Scotland national team, still a current national team player, hopefully for many years to come. You played Loughborough Uni, MCC Young Cricketers, Essex Seconds, Nottinghamshire, and then in recent times, I'm hoping your bank balance improved a little bit by playing for the Montreal Tigers, that we can have a chat about as well. Your first big announcement, certainly for me looking on as a fellow cricketer at that time, I'll never forget it, was the Under-19 World Cup that you went out to as vice captain for the Scotland team. And you announced yourself on the world stage by scoring 100 against 70 balls against Australia. And it's interesting, I just watched a little clip before coming on here, and I'm pretty sure you brought your 100 up, hitting it over long on for 6.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that day, mate.
Just to clarify, there was no scoreboard, so I had no idea what I was on.
Okay.
And I hit it, and then obviously guys started cheering, and I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, we
so 90 odd, I wouldn't have. So probably lucky that there was no real big scoreboard. So it was a strange kind of day, because we'd got absolutely pumped everywhere by what turns out to be pretty much a all played for Australia now.
Yeah.
I think Travis.
Who are we talking?
So the lineup was something like Bancroft, Travis Head, Ashton Agar. I mean, they've all played in the Bash. I'm trying to remember. They had the Will Basisto, who was the captain. I mean, all these guys were playing Big Bash within a year or two.
Yep.
And they'd absolutely smashed us. I think they got 380 or something silly like that.
Yep.
They were just being awful. And me being me, I was getting pretty moody by the stumps because we were just being rubbish. Yep. It wasn't that they were good. We were just awful. Yep. And it wasn't their warm-up game, but it was more, you know, so when I came out to bat, I was getting a lot from their boys.
Yep. As you do from the Aussies.
Dogs abuse from their boys. So, you know, they had 380 on the board. They were kind of laughing at us a bit. And yeah, I guess once you're chasing a score like that, you've only really got one thing in your mind. I think, you know, I got first couple away, and then I was like, well, let's go. If you're gonna go down, we might as well go down swinging a bit. And we ended up, I think we got 270 or something. But I think we showed at least we can play. A couple of the other boys whacked a few. I think Henry Edwards got 50 odd as well quickly. So it was like, you know what, they were giving it to me. So I was like, let's try and take them on a bit. And it was, you know, it was my day in terms of that game. But it was good fun.
No, love that story. Like you do when you come up against. I mean, I had the experience of going under 19 World Cup. West Indies hit us for 400. The Aussies hit us for 350. Cameron White got 150 against us. And you know, you do feel that they want to bully you. And for you to come out and play the way you did, you know, I bet it shut a few of them up, which is good to hear. Because coming from Scotland, you're kind of, you know, I talked to John Mooney about this as well. He had his experience of playing Australia under 19 World Cup, and he said they just try to basically talk to them, like, you know, they laughed at them in the morning of the game, and they did quite well against them in the match, and you know, you earn their respect, which is what it's all about. So that must have really given you a lot of confidence. You must have really felt good about yourself at that point to kickstart on from there.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty disappointing under 19 World Cup after that, to be honest, but I got a lot of 30s and 40s, which looking back was, you know, not good enough. It's not what we now look for. We're looking for guys to get hundreds and win games and take that responsibility, which maybe after that innings, I just felt like I have to keep playing this way.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always go right. You get out, you hit a couple straight up. So I was, you know, coming away from the under 19 World Cup, shown what I could do, but can do better. So I felt like, I think that was 2012, and I felt like I was pushing towards, you know, trying to get into that senior side soon, hopefully.
Yep.
I think I had to wait probably another year before the YB40s came in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I was, you know, that was me done with under 19 cricket after that World Cup. We finished 11th, which was pretty good.
Yep.
We beat Ireland again. Well, we might not have been. Afghanistan might have been top associate, but we finished 11th. So it was a decent World Cup. Boys showed what they could do. I think we had quite a good team as well. So
something I didn't touch on, and when you were mentioning your early playing days, you obviously come from a club that has another fellow, you know, serious wicketkeeper, a guy that I played quite a bit of cricket with. Did Colin Smith, Floppy? Did he have quite a good influence on you coming through as a keeper?
Yeah, I guess it was obviously slightly different builds.
Yeah, ever so slightly.
But obviously there was always someone there when I was at Aberdeenshire, although he wasn't there that much because he was juggling the police commitments and playing for Scotland. There's always someone to kind of aspire to. And when I did see him, it was always good. You know, he's quite a quiet guy, but we didn't necessarily do much talking, but there's always someone there I could look at and go, what does this guy do? And I'd seen him training a few times on his own, like with the bowling machine and stuff.
Yeah, he does have some interesting.
Yeah, no, he had some interesting theories, and he definitely did it his way, but he was, you know, very effective and, you know, in my opinion, the best there's ever been for Scotland. So I always literally looked up at him. And, you know, I got to play a few games with him at Aberdeenshire before I left for uni, you know, when I made my debut for Aberdeenshire. So that was, you know, pretty special as well. I remember we won a game, got a photo somewhere, we won a game at Uddingston where he got 60 odd and I got 15 maybe batting, 6 or 7 when I was young, and it was kind of one of those moments I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And obviously at that point I was like, I want his spot when he's done with it, or I want to be a Scotland wicketkeeper. So
it was interesting. We picked myself and Matthew Parker. We did one of his. I was on one of his podcasts just recently. By the time this comes out, actually, you might have heard this already, Crossy. But we picked the Scotland team from the '99 till now. and obviously we opted for Colin Smith at this moment in time, but we did feel that eventually you got the potential definitely there to go on and become Scotland's best wicketkeeper batsman. So that's something that you've got that benchmark there to aspire to. I hope that's the case, because obviously there's still a lot of chapters left in your career. Hopefully you stay fit and go on to do loads of different things. Moving on then, you mentioned, we touched on the YCs.
Yeah.
So you actually, this is what I found interesting. When I went down to the YCs, I was 17, but then I had people, there was like people on my team who were like 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
That was scary. I mean, they were actually really good with me. They were good with me, but it was hard as well at times. You know, some of the changing room banter and stuff like that. You know, I was quite a confident kid, but you would get the piss taken out of you quite a bit. And, you know, there was some days where I felt a little bit, you know, I'm out of my depth here. You obviously went there as quite a mature adult at that point. Well, close to being, I don't know, close to being. I'm sure there was a couple of occasions down in the old YCs that maybe you weren't so mature. But I mean, talk to me about that experience, because I know from doing it, it's awesome, man. Turning up at Lord's every day is your place of work.
Yeah, I mean, so I was in Australia actually that winter with one of the other boys who was on the YCs, and he was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Well, actually, yeah, I quite fancy that." So I went down there, and Steve Kirby was coach.
Okay.
And I played against the YCs a few times for knots, twos, and stuff, and they weren't a laughing stock, but probably in some ways the way the counties look at Scotland, they look at the YCs as a bit, and they expect to absolutely smash them. So I kind of was like, and I got there and I was like pleasantly like really surprised. Obviously, Curbs he's an unbelievable guy, like wants the best, demands the best.
Yep.
And with some serious players around, we had this indoor tent at the school, Merchant Taylor School, you know, grass wickets under a tent, and we had like these trials going on, and it was intense, and there was some serious talent. I was like, we're gonna do all right as a team here. So I remember he pulled me aside quite early and said like he wanted me to be a leader, obviously being older, experienced playing for Scotland, been on the county scene. So that for me was quite tricky, because you had probably two different kinds of people on the YCs. You had guys who were really talented but probably needed to change their attitude a little bit.
Yeah.
And you had guys who worked like dogs but probably just couldn't quite get the best out of their talent.
Yeah.
So
I was probably the first one.
Yeah.
You need to change the attitude a little bit. The talent was kind of there.
That's
I did guys on the staff that probably didn't quite have it, but they just trained all day long.
Yeah, like I'm not saying I was perfect or anything, but I felt like I was the kind of person who tried to do training right and do the right things. And I think these guys didn't, and he was trying to get me to get that out of them, and I got caught in the crossfire of telling people what to do type thing. And it's, you know, it's difficult because you can see these guys and you're like, look, come on, you can do this. You could be a professional cricketer, but you need to start acting like a bit of a clown, or you need to take things a little bit more seriously. So I felt like guys struggled with that, which was fine, because it wasn't, you know, I wasn't there to be everyone's best mate, as Cubs kind of said to me at the time. But I absolutely loved playing with the YCs, and like we didn't win many games, but we had a pretty successful T20 comp, you know, which was really good. And for me, it got me in the best space to play for Scotland that summer, when we had, I think, Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe and Namibia. So like in terms of the cricket side of things, you know, training at Lord's was unbelievable. Put in the yards with a fitness coach, and he had some good people, like good guys come in and work. You know, we had like the Gidman brothers come in. We had a couple of bowling coaches come in and work with the bowlers. So like, you know, and you see England cricketers, Middlesex cricketers every day. You can see what they're training. You obviously get to kind of watch England a bit. Yep. You know, the guys who are netballing England. So you get some unbelievable opportunities, which you just don't get if you don't do it. Yep. So, you know, the YCs was good. I actually didn't end up playing that many games in that year because of Scotland stuff came back in again. But no, it was definitely an experience. And I said it to the coaches, and Scotland should be sending 2 guys down there every time if it still goes on, because it's a great place, you know, to grow up really as well.
Yeah.
I think that's for what a lot of the guys it was about. It was about growing up to be a professional, as opposed to you need to go there to become a better cricketer. It was kind of mature.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I think it's a good shout by you there that Scotland should look to send at least one, maybe two lads down there. Probably be better if they sent two lads because you kind of help. They can kind of help each other. It's quite. It can get a bit homesick as well if you're really young when you first. I mean, from speaking from experience, I did definitely get homesick down there. But I think it would be great. And they've got a good coach now who seems to be doing good things. Ajmal Shazad. Obviously, they've got a good relationship with our boys recently. Crossy and Leesky and Safi went out to the MCC tour in Pakistan. I've got Leesky on Monday to talk about that, so I'm looking forward to hearing his experience of that. So it's great. Again, another. You really do have good grounding to be going into to play at the top of the top cricket you can, which is international cricket and World Cup. Jumping forward, you scored a couple of 50s to help Scotland qualify for the 2015 World Cup. Please remind me who your 50s were against.
So I got 90 or 89 or something like that against UAE in Queenstown.
Yep.
I then I think I got 50 or maybe 49 against PNG.
Yep.
And I got 50 something against Kenya in the game we won to go. So it was a strange tournament. Obviously, like I went into that tournament with Righty and Colley were coaches at the time, and I think I might have even been batting 9.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure though because I was the only keeper there. Mm-hmm. So it was a bit like I'd only played like 2 games at this point, and so I was batting 9, and then Costa got injured in the nets, and kind of probably lucky that Righty was coaching. He'd obviously seen me at under 19 level, so I remember he sat down and said, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, 100%, let's go." And then the next day, we had like a rain-affected game against the UAE, and it got reduced to something like 28 overs, and I was probably a bit like, "Oh, I don't know how I'm going to approach this," because it's a weird length of game. And the opening with left arm spin, which at the time I wasn't a big fan of, was a bit like just used to pace, wanted pace. That's all I wanted. The opening left arm spin, and I think I hit the second ball for 4, and I was just away, and it was just me and Cloudy put on 180 odd, and that was the day I was like, I'm here, I'm ready to do this properly. So that tournament for me was everything. It was probably the best tournament I've been involved in. Obviously, we ended up winning the thing and going to the World Cup. So that was a massive competition for me.
Yeah, I think if I'm right in saying Preston Momsen had a fantastic tournament. Obviously led the side, a couple of hundreds, I believe, in that trip, and you played some brilliant cricket to then take you into the 2015 World Cup in Australia. What an experience, obviously. And the thing about that World Cup is it was the amount of cricket that you boys got. You played more games than I think any other team had ever played at a World Cup. How was that experience for you?
It was just unbelievable. Like everything from the hotels, the training, the atmospheres, the grounds. It was just, surreal at times. And obviously, it was quite strange to us because it was like a game every 6 days. Mm-hmm. We've never really played like that. It's like a game every other day if we play cricket. So it kind of felt like a holiday at times. It was a bit weird. It was probably more training than cricket.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a good tournament. We showed glimpses of what was possible. We probably lost 2 crunch games we should have won, probably.
Afghanistan is one that you...
Yeah, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, to be honest, we should have won after what position we got ourselves into. But, that probably in some ways gave us more motivation losing those games than potentially winning them. So, but we took the lessons we needed to take from there. We probably weren't quite ready. I think, there's always that feeling if, we'd had a bit more experience. Like I always think if the team that's played now, having beaten Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, England, what that team could do, having the confidence of having done it, and that team at that time never had done it. So we were a bit in awe. Like we couldn't beat Afghanistan at that time, no matter what format it was. Yeah, we'd never really played against anyone else at that time. So I just think a bit of lack of experience and some good individual performances took games away from us, and that's what happens at the top level. Yeah, no, I mean, you'll be better off for the experience. Clearly, you're better off for the experience because Scotland then go on to, play some
some really fantastic cricket. You had, was it 2 games against Sri Lanka? Unfortunately, they weren't full ODIs, which I can't really get my head around. I mean, Scotland against Sri Lanka, surely that should be a full ODI. It's not like we're some sort of county second 11 makeshift team or something, an international side. You performed you performed well. What was your remind me of your scores?
Well, I got my first Scotland 100 in that first game. I maybe got 20 or 30 in the second game, but
how was it getting you obviously opened up?
Yeah.
How was that to get your first 100? Really should have been your first ODI 100, but ODI 100 against a test playing nation.
Yeah, it was just to be honest, it was pure relief because, like I said, like that 90 I got against the UAE should have been my first 100 for Scotland. I should have walked 100. You know, I was off 60 balls and I had 10 overs to spare, so I could have. So it was kind of like at that point, you know, that was 2 years later. I've been batting 7 for a couple of years there, and obviously the team changed in that time, and I got my chance back at the top. And it was relief, to be honest. Like I missed my chance when I was 20 to get one. But it was an unbelievable day as well. Obviously, the way Costa played was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I just kind of had to bat around him, and then once he got out, it was just a case of finishing it off. And I think seeing it home and being not out at the end as well, it's just that kind of satisfaction of.
I think you're downplaying that a wee bit, Crossy. I mean, you don't just play second fiddle and get 100 against Sri Lanka. You obviously played a beautiful knock. Kyle, you're right. I know what you mean. When he's in full flow, I mean, there's not many better sights, but to get 100 against Sri Lanka, I mean, you should be very proud of that, and you should take every confidence from it, which you have done. I want to now kind of just a couple more things I want to touch on in your career. One of the biggest being you went on to play in an ODI against England, massive game at the Grange. I've already had your good pal, your chum, on just yesterday, Callum McLeod, and we talked quite in depth about it.
Yeah, I bet he did.
We talked about you, and he claims that you're one of his best mates. Is that true?
So basically, this is actually a true story. I played an 18 game when I was about 16, 17 when I was down at uni. No, I must have been 18.
Yeah.
I turned up to the hotel to play against Northants 2s or something.
Yeah.
I got in and I was rooming with someone maybe like Berrington.
Yeah. And
I got into the room and I got to the hotel and they said, "Oh, the rooms have been changed and you're now in this room." I was like, "Okay, brilliant. Of course it's going to happen."
Yeah.
I've been stuck with McLeod, haven't I? I turned up last. I got the man no one wanted, and then we roomed together pretty much since that day. So I have to put up with him. So
yeah, he's a character. I've toured with Callum, and I went to South Africa with him, and it's safe to say I didn't always see eye to eye with him.
I think you'd be the only one there.
Even when I was interviewing him, I found that he's got these facial expressions. I don't know if he's taking the mick out of me or if he's just I don't know how to sometimes read him. But no, he spoke very well. He spoke very well yesterday. I'm looking forward to putting it out there. But you obviously opened up in the ODI.
Yeah.
Yourself and Kyle again, who seemed to really exciting times for Scottish cricket. Seemed to have found a really good opening pair in ODI cricket. And you boys put on a very quick 100+ opening partnership. One thing I remember about you in particular was you were just beautifully playing the ball off the back foot. Obviously, it was a beautiful wicket. I remember David Willey, I think it was, running in first couple of overs. You just leaned back foot, put it through the cover. Lovely to watch. Talk to me about your feeling of doing that day.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that because going into that game, I was obviously kind of knew it was going to be Wood and Willey, and obviously Wood was bowling quick and this and that. I wasn't really worried about Wood. I was worried about Willey though, because I watched a few ODIs and he swings it and he seemed to be getting a lot of wickets and a lot of top order batters out. So I was a bit like, I'd done a little bit of practice in the game leading up, right arm, side arm around the wicket, just trying to figure the angles out. Mm. And I think he bowled his first one down leg side and it hooped, and I was like, oh god, here we go.
If he gets it right.
And he bowled his second one short and wide, and I smoked it for 4, and I was like, this is all right. I can do this. Yeah. And the wicket, like you said, was ridiculous. I didn't know even at the outfield as well. It was like lightning. So. Yeah. And it just kind of built from there. Costa hit some naughty back foot punches down the ground off Wood, and we were just kind of away. And they, to be honest, they kind of they retreated pretty quickly, which kind of signalled to us that we're doing all right. I think, they went very defensive. Slips went out. third man came up, another man went out somewhere else, and it was kind of just keep playing. The wicket, was so good that you didn't have to go searching too much as a batter. You just let, trust yourself with timing, and it was just one of those days. It just kind of, in the end, it was nothing compared to what England did to us in the first 10. But obviously, I keep saying to people, if I hadn't got out when I did, then we might not have got 370.
That's what I was going to come to that. Obviously, Adil Rashid comes on and bowls a pretty nice over and removes Kyle. Pretty good nut, to be fair. And then you kind of went to run one down to third man. I mean, you did running it down to third man shows that you've not really been done there, and you looked really frustrated because you could have been set for a big one there. Potentially went on to get your ODI 100. You were playing it so easily. So that must have been a frustration for you.
100%. I've done all the hard work, and that's always the worst feeling. Like sometimes, it's probably a cliche. You'd rather get out for naught than that, because what I've done there is just giving away a wicket when I've done all the hard work. And obviously at the time, Cloudy had just come in as well, so it was actually even worse than that, because me and Costa, I think, got him back-to-back overs. Or
pretty much. It was a dangerous time.
Yeah, so actually, double whammy, really had messed up there. But obviously Richie and Cloudy, two of our most experienced players, came together, and I think the way we started, they picked it up straight away, which might not always happen. Someone who comes in might take time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they didn't, which was probably the reason why the game kept flowing. Richie got in. I remember he hit Adil Rashid for 6 down the ground. Cloudy was sweeping. They were just away straight away, like they didn't even think about it. So, and anyway, George came in, Leesky 6 overs for last ball. So guys just kept kind of sticking to that positive game plan, and before we knew it, we ended up with a ridiculous score.
Would you echo what Kyle and Callum have pretty much already said, that you'd been building up for a good year leading into that game? You knew what your game plan was going into that game. You knew how you wanted it. I mean, it looked like everybody knew what was expected of them. I mean, even like you say, Munsey came out to bat and he just played I mean, the partnership of Kyle and Richie, it was just three partnerships that were crucial. You and Kyle to get to 100. Richie and Callum, great experience to just recoup a little bit, then go again, like you say, got to over 200. Richie goes, Munsey comes in, then another 100 partnership takes us to 300. It was just, unheard of. It was like you boys were just batting in a different world. England must have just been, itching their head of, what do we do? Everything we try, everything Owen Morgan seemed to try that day, boys seemed to have an answer. But would you say that going out to open the batting that day, I mean, it's easy to say it now, but was that pretty much your intention, that we're going to come hard at these, we're going to look to put the pressure on them?
Yeah, something we talked about and kind of was, winning, expecting a team to play well, but us playing better, or being better than them on the day. So they're going to play an A game. I think Grant called it, and we're going to have to play an A+ game to beat them. Especially the top teams, and they don't have days where they get bowled out for 180. They don't really have those days.
Yeah.
Too many good players. So look back at in the process of that, we had Sri Lanka where we had to chase 290. Zimbabwe, we got 320 batting first. Afghanistan and Zimbabwe, we chased 270 odd.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd shown that we can beat good teams by playing really good cricket, and they played good as well. And I think that's what we did on that day, because I know Owen Morgan tried to brush it under the carpet saying, it was better than a warm-up game or whatever. Johnny Bairstow got 100 off 50 balls and we still came out on top. So,
and the other thing was, they used to turn up they normally turn up at the Grange with a weekend bowling attack. That was their frontline ODI bowling attack at that time. There's no Willie, Wood, Plunkett, Adil and Moyne. That's their attack. Changed probably be a little bit different now. But at that point, and it's interesting, after games like that, Willie got dropped, and he was like he was their golden man, and he got dropped, didn't get taken to the World Cup. So it's you really did put a lot of boys under pressure that day. It was great to see. Obviously, we go on to put in a phenomenal performance in the field, stuck to our guns. Mark Watt, what a performance! And another day he gets. I mean, to go at 5.5 in a game like that and get 3 wickets. What's your thought? You were behind the stumps. What does he do well, Mark Watt?
Do you know what? He's one of the stupidest blokes I've ever met, but he's got a seriously good bowling brain.
Okay. And
I don't know how, but he just, and he's, as soon as he came into the squad, he's got a bit of character about him, and, he's gone from strength to strength really as a left arm spinner. So, you know, he that wicket he got of Moen at the end was quality, like, you know, chucking one up when he's looking at everywhere. He done it. Yeah. And, you know, other people might not have done that. They'd have gone defensive because he was whacking it everywhere. And he had a bit about him that day. And, you know, Cloudy obviously takes a lot of the plaudits, and rightly so. But what he's spelled was seriously undervalued that day, I think, on a day where pretty much every batter got runs. Yeah. Guy took 3 for 50, and no other bowler really got close to that, I don't think. And it was the way he started it all off as well. He removed Roy up at the start, so he you know, it was a big wicket. I mean, if they go for another 5 or 6 overs at that point, it was just raining 4s and 6s. I mean, it was interesting talking to Safi as well. He said that you boys knew they were going to come hard at you. You knew the ball was probably going to fly around, and it was all, you talked about staying calm and just kind of staying in the game, and that kind of keeping calm really resulted in that stage in between 200 and 300, where we managed to get at least 3 or 4 wickets where they didn't manage to do that to us. Yeah. And that was a crucial part of the game. You were obviously behind the stumps. Was it just a matter of keeping the energy levels up, keeping the boys going? Yeah, I think like it's a lot easier when you've got 370 on the board. But obviously there was a point where I was looking. I think Cloudy was at slip, and I was looking like, they're going to chase us in 30 overs. They're going to absolutely embarrass us here. And then obviously, like, you know, we stuck at it. Costa did the right thing. He kept mixing things up, changes. Richie picked up obviously an important wicket. Bairstow eventually got one wrong, which, you know, probably what Cloudy didn't do is he didn't give them a chance. You know, if Bairstow had 150 there, so he probably, as much as he got them back in the game, he gave it away. Yeah. And then, you know, there was a run out, and we just stuck at it. And to be honest, we took all our chances. I don't remember missing a chance. No, the same way we didn't really give them a lot. At least he run out at long on. Yeah. Pick up and throw, phenomenal. I think Kyle was telling me the one that he took in front of the stumps and pulled back. That's stuff that you've worked on as well. Yeah, it was one of those days where it pretty much everything went right. To be all of our batters got runs. We took every chance in the field. We bowled pretty well, you know, and that's what we talked about, is playing an A+ game, and you see what happens when you do that, you know. No, well, we see what happened in the world, and hopefully now, as you say, you've got the experience of beating Sri Lanka, beating England now, 2 of the biggest test, but you know, 2 proper powerhouses in world cricket, and now hopefully we qualify for some World Cups down the line. I know things have been made a bit tougher by the ICC. Hopefully that can be changed up a little bit, because to me it looks like the top 3-4 associates are better placed now than they ever were to beat the big guns. Yeah. So hopefully you boys get to go on and take on some big fish and take, because really what Scotland now need is to go to a World Cup and to beat one of the big test playing nations, if not 2. Ireland have done it, and I don't think they're any better than what we are. At the moment, I think Scotland, with their bowling attack, probably are, you know, we've got some proper bowlers in the mix right now. I think are probably stronger than Ireland, I think. So fingers crossed that we go on to do that. What a finish with it was good to see recently some of our own get to go and take part in a franchise tournament. You obviously went out to Canada to play for the Montreal Tigers. How was that for you, mate? And who, just to remind me, which kind of names did you have on your team? So I was with Costa. George Bailey was our icon player. We had Sunil Narine. Yeah. A couple of Sri Lankan lads, Chandamol and Tisara Pereira. Fawad Ahmed from. Oh, I'm interviewing him. I've seen that. Yeah. No, top man. It was an unbelievable experience. Like, it was, you know, so well. It wasn't particularly well run, but like all those big guys there, you know, you kind of see that they are just human as well. Yeah. Chatting cricket, chatting all sorts of rubbish with these guys. You know, guys like McCullum, Chris Lynn, guys like that who just done it, been everywhere, done it, and it was just so cool to train with them, play with them, play against them. But also, like, I think there was opportunity for us to show how good we are. Yeah. And I think a couple of the boys obviously got that opportunity, and I think Munsey obviously
he really made a name. He really announced himself, didn't he?
Yeah, Mons was good. He obviously got runs against us, as he reminded us, and then Costa was our best batter in our team as well. So, I think our coach was Tom Moody as well, who's multiple IPL winning coach. So, I think we walked away from it. Particularly
how was that? What did you pick up from the experience of working under a coach like that, who knows the T20 format and franchise? Obviously, in the biggest franchise tournament in the world, he coaches at. What did you pick up from him?
I think a couple of things. I did a one-to-one with him where he kind of, just a few little things that I didn't even expect, like from someone like him to, sort of very basic things in terms of batting and what I was doing and wasn't doing. I think it was something simple as like staying still. I was trying to do too many things in net, just trying to, show off a bit probably.
Yeah.
But even though, like, obviously with, I think it's Sunrisers he coaches, they obviously have a pretty, like a method in terms of who they pick. They go pretty bowling heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was quite evident in the team we picked. Most of our overseas players were bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he stuck to that, and it also showed that we're not, as the Scotland side, we're not far away in terms of the thinking, or we actually might be ahead of the thinking sometimes of where these guys are at. So he was very clear when he spoke, and it was, he kind of hung on every word. So really loved it. I hope, I'm probably not this year, but maybe next year we'll be able to go back and do it all again. Really enjoyed it, and he gave Costa some great opportunity in that team. I got a little bit of opportunity at the end, but I think the guys did pretty well, held themselves pretty well. So hopefully we get to do that again maybe next year.
It's awesome to see that boys are starting, because our talent I think is just as good as anybody's talent around the world now, and I think getting that exposure and the fact that Munsey and Kyle have performed well, hopefully will pave the way for them to consider Scottish players in the future as well.
Definitely.
And these boys can play. Good, it's been really good. Crossy, I've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed talking your journey. I mean, it's been quite different. I wanted to talk to you more about your kind of upbringing and your kind of graduation into becoming a professional cricketer, which has been, you've got such good grounding behind you, but you've had some great experiences now. For a 27-year-old lad, you've got a lot of experience, a wealth of experience for your age. So I think it stands Scotland in good stead to have a guy like you with the keeper, behind having the gloves. I think talking to you, maybe somebody that can maybe go on to captain Scotland one day. Is that something that you maybe aspire to eventually?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've been lucky to be in some sort of vice captain kind of roles and done captaincy at the YCs and stuff like that, and I do really enjoy it. I think it adds, brings a little bit more out of me sometimes. So, I've got a lot of things I need to do right first in terms of just focusing on my game, but maybe one day it will fall to me, and if it does, I hope I'm actually ready to take it as well. So
no, I mean, talking to you, mate, I think you'll, and by the time you're 2-3 years down the line, I don't think Kyle will be playing too much longer after 2-3 years down the line.
Don't worry.
His hairline certainly suggests that he's coming to near the end, but I think his body's still got a few years left in it. So I mean, I'd hope that Kyle will lead the team for a few years yet, but then there's definitely there must be opportunity out there for somebody to take the reins, and you seem like quite a level-headed man. You seem grumpy enough. You seem like you got that kind of something Callum touched on. He said you're very grumpy,
laid back, chilled,
laid back, but be able to, like you were mentioning at the MCC on cricketers, you're able to have those tougher conversations, and you need to be able to have that as a captain. So I think you'd be a great candidate down the line. But at the moment, keep concentrating on your cricket, keep going for your runs. I'll look out for another edition of one of your golf tricks, something that basically goes around the full house. I'm looking for.
I just want to get out and get on a golf course, to be honest. That'll do me.
I think everyone's crying out for Nicola Sturgeon to open that up. But look, at this point, the main thing is everyone's health and staying safe.
Yeah,
so I think we'll all have hopefully enough time to get back on the cricket field and the golf course. But for now, we just we'll stick to the rules. But Crossy, listen, appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on.
And I look forward to catching up with you down the line and following some of your performances, mate.
Cheers, Shaky. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.